Yeah. Okay, so today's session is really about understanding the applied theater facilitator and who we are in the space. So just, I know some of you and I don't know some of you because I'm seeing you all for the first time. So just to get an idea, can we quickly just go around doing a quick intro as to what brings you into this space? So can we, anyone would like to start?
Okay, let me start.
Okay, great.
So namaskar to all of you. My name is Anand Mehta. I'm a facilitative trainer and into the field of training and facilitation for last more than 14 years. What brings me to this session is curiosity. I had a very brief conversation with Saurabh, and it was very fascinating to interact with people around. And I also strongly believe that the applied theater has tremendous potential to make a huge transformational impact on each one of us life. So here I'm here with curiosity to explore the whole new world of applied theater. Thank you, Srividya, for the opportunity.
Great. And Anand, can you just tag someone else to go next?
Yeah, Yusuf Atfi.
Hi, Yusuf. So I was just asking everyone to quickly tell us what brought you here today.
Thank you so much. Basically, I'm from Bangladesh, and right now I am doing a course which is certificate course on applied theater, and I think this session can be helped me a lot. That's why I'm joining here.
Great. Thank you, Yusuf. And can you pass it on to someone? Can you tag someone else?
Milind
Hi,
Tadilkar, right?
hi everybody. I am here because it's a new field to me, and in conversations with Kaustubh, I somehow got an impression that it is something with huge potential, and well, that's why I'm here.
Can you tag
Milind,
someone, Milind?
Milind, that's
Yeah.
not fair. Like every time you say this is a new to me, how it should be
Oh,
old
yeah.
for you.
I have a great facility of forgetting anything beyond 14 hours.
You are blessed.
Yeah, I am.
Okay,
Thank you.
please. Can
Please
you pass
tag
it on
someone.
to somebody?
Yeah, Divya.
Yeah, hi. Hi, my name is Divya. I am based out of Bombay, and uh, the reason I'm here is I have learned TO and playback and storytelling, and I want to take these tools to the corporate space. So for me, it's about the application. Like I'm here to understand the application of these tools and also to learn from each other. So my basic reason for being here is to understand this as in the form of application and not just as a participant where you attend and you say, oh, this is great, but how do you take this to various other spaces and use it there? So I want to learn the art of taking this to various spaces, especially the corporate space, and try to humanize that space. Uh, yeah, so that's why I'm here to understand the application of these art-based processes.
Great. Thank you, Divyan. Can you tag someone else?
Yes, I can tag. Okay, it says iPhone, so I'm not sure.
Is that me?
Yes,
Yes,
that's
yes,
you.
yes.
Okay. Uh, Actually, I joined late, so I think I'm supposed to give my introduction.
Just tell us what brings you here and your name as well. If you could rename yourself, or I'll
Okay.
help you rename
Yeah.
if you want. Yeah.
I'm Dr. Sarojini Zadhav. I'm a medical teacher. I'm a professor in general surgery. I teach surgery, and I'm also in a medical education technology. So actually, I had seen one theater application in one of the medical education conference for communication skill, like how to handle the difficult HODs, how to handle a patient and all that. So that was some few years back. And since then, I got very much interested in this theoretic application of theater in medical education. So that's why I'm here.
Great, thank you. And can you tag someone else?
Can I speak instead of trying to get a tag?
Sure, go for it.
I think my camera is not working or refusing to work.
No problem.
Okay,
No problem.
Anand Guriya here. I am in corporate training as well as business astrology. And I am here simply because I got this message as 1 minute to 6 and found it interesting. But just now, as I see you, I see your face to be strangely familiar. Did you ever perform at any MTHR global event or something?
No.
Because I have attended one function, at least one function, where art was used as or acting was used as a tool for training. Maybe it was Arun Vishwanath's training forum or somewhere. And yeah, so it is interesting and I'm here. But interestingly, I see that everybody, instead of getting to the stage, wants to stay behind and has to be tagged. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you tag someone else?
Okay. Who's remaining? Sanjeevani Puranik?
Yeah, Sanjeevani hasn't gone yet.
Hi, everybody. I'm here because I simply am in love with applied theatre and I would like to keep updating myself about newer applications of applied theatre. Thank you.
Great. And can you tag someone, Sanjeevani?
I tag Kaustubh.
Right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kaustubh Bankapure, and I'm the director of Applied Theatre India Foundation. And as Sanjeevani said, I also like to update my knowledge with the help of others. And well, I cannot do it alone. So we thought, why not to involve others to make it possible? And that's why we started this series last month. And hopefully, we're going to do a lot more episodes every month and update our knowledge about applied theater with the help of each other. Thank you. And who's left?
We've got Radhika, Saili. Yeah.
Saili? Saili Indulkar?
Yes, thank you, Kaustubh. I'm Saili Indulkar. I teach theater at an IBDP school at grade 11 and 12. I also teach theory of knowledge there. I personally have an undergraduate and master's in theater. So what brings me to apply theater is, first of all, Sri Vidya. We used to work together and I was introduced to applied theater through her. I want to learn where I can take my skills in theater otherwise. So that's why I'm here. And I'll tag Radhika.
Hi,
Can you pass it on to
I'm
somebody?
Radhika. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Radhika.
You're
Yes.
audible.
So I'm Radhika. I'm from Bangalore. I have a applied theatre company here. It's called First Drop Theatre, and yeah, we apply this in corporate healthcare education. And I'm here to learn, as Kaustubh said, learn from each other. No learning is done alone. So yeah, and I think I missed the first one. So I'm eager to be here today.
Super.
Thank you, Srividya. Is there anyone left?
No, I think I haven't introduced myself, so I'll do that as well, and then we'll
So
carry
over
on.
to you, Srividya.
Yeah, thank you, Radhika. So I'm Sri Vidya, and I'm also in Bangalore, and I run an applied theatre company here called Akara. We work with children, and so the reason I'm here, actually, this was a very selfish thing, like Kaustubh said. Like, I really wanted a space where we could all, come together, talk, learn from each other, hopefully jam at some point as well. And so Kaustubh and I created the space, and here we are. And we're hoping to really have this every month regularly, and yeah, talk about things that are important, that are, that make us think about our practice, expand our practice. And yeah, that's basically what it is. So welcome everyone. And today's session is about understanding who the applied theater facilitator is. So I know most of us already work as facilitators in various spaces. So we're going to do, I just want to understand from all of you, in your experience, who is an applied theater facilitator? What is it? What does it mean to be an applied theater facilitator? And I would encourage you to keep your videos on as well so that, we can interact better. But anyone can start.
In psychology, the psychodrama is one of the fields which is many times used. Also, when we are doing T group training, emulating a real life scenario, or rather the way they would react to a situation in training environment would give us links to the way they would behave in real life. So those are the two areas of directly applying, not really theater, because here the people are not acting or they do not know that they are acting, but as a sample of their life or as a sample of their behavior to use it towards improvement.
Okay, that's interesting. So would anyone want to respond to that in any way and look at it from the facilitator's perspective?
Hi, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I'm Yusuf. I'm a self-leadership trainer, and last 6 years I'm working as a corporate trainer in Bangladesh. Basically, what I think that in corporate training, if a facilitator bring some drama focusing on participants' pain point or any problems, followed by facilitator can be solve the issues with this drama. In that case, participant can receive these kinds of facilitation more than 10 times usual to normal delivery, basically. This is my only personal opinion, nothing
Okay.
else.
Okay.
Thank you.
So when you say normal delivery, what do you mean?
I think normal delivery means in a corporate training session, we are presenting PPTs, then we are role plays or group presentations, whatever.
Okay.
I think compared to these kinds of activities, drama-based activity more than effective. Because in our mind, want to more catchy, especially in our second layer of brain, which is emotional brain. That's why this brain can be fired more when we are seeing some emotional situations or some climax situations. These kinds of situations just touched us very well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kaustubh, as someone who comes from the corporate space as well, from the corporate training space, would you want to respond to this?
Yes, but when Yusuf was talking, I was thinking about why we call facilitation a facilitation. He said, I am a corporate trainer, and we are talking about a facilitation. So, what exactly the difference between trainer and a facilitator?
Facilitator, yeah.
That's what I was thinking about.
That's
Can
an
someone like
interesting
to respond
question.
on that? So, how
Yeah,
and
sorry, my
when?
video is. Yes.
Yeah, Divya, I'll
Sorry,
just complete. So,
Sure.
so how and when we decide that at this point of time I'm trainer, and this point of time I'm not a trainer, I'm a facilitator.
Yeah, so I think that facilitation is basically you are facilitating a like facilitating the process, and in the process, the person is learning, and they're learning through experience. And training is you are telling them that this is the right thing to do. Like, for example, there are various models, and you say that, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, and this is what this person discovered and said that this is going to work worldwide. So you are training people on a certain process devised by somebody else, and hoping that it will work. While facilitation is about giving them the freedom to learn through the process, and you are facilitating the learning process through an activity, or by letting them experience the space.
Very interesting.
Yes, Anand.
Just thought of a metaphorical connection, when we talk about training and facilitation. I think a facilitator can be connected, or metaphorically, can be connected with midwife. Uh, in the old days, in the villages, when there was no doctors to organize the delivery of baby, uh, there was daijas or those midwife. Okay, so facilitator is like a midwife. Okay, when the labor pain happens, okay, this midwife is called, and she would reach to a home, and first she will organize few things, she would organize few processes, she would ensure that there are hot water, clothes, and everything she'll organize. So as a facilitator, you also go to a training room and organize the venue, organize things so that the processes can be set. Then this midwife will go to the lady, and what will she do? She'll push, the baby needs to be pushed. So a facilitator will organize process and ensure that the baby, which is in our case a learning, okay, comes out from the participant. Okay, once the baby is delivered, what will the midwife do? She will clean the baby. So once the learning comes out, we can refine the learning, with some stories or with some anecdotes or with some other examples. Okay, and does midwife go away with the baby? No, she gives back baby to the parents. So you also give back learning to the owner. Okay, and that learner would be very happy, because because the learner is the owner of that baby, or of that learning, and the learner would be very happy to nurture that learning, because that's been produced by him or her. Okay, I think that's what I feel.
That's a very interesting way of putting it.
And the best part,
scenario,
when
where
to
are you
deliver a baby.
Very insightful. Very insightful.
I'm definitely taking this back with me. And Kaustubh, like just thinking
That
about last month's conversation of what is applied theater, and today
yeah,
we're actually comparing facilitating with the work of a midwife. It's very like so many interesting connections are also.
absolutely. That's very interesting imagination. And probably Anand, you're traveling too much, and that's why you got this kind of hallucination. But that worked very well. So thank you
Yeah.
very much for that insight.
Thank you, Kasam. Thank you, Sridhya.
I would like to give some feedback. Can I?
Sure,
Yeah,
please.
actually, I think it was a very nice example which was given. Means like I also got a good insight. I just want to add a few things as far as our medical education is concerned. This is a principle of an adult learning. Here, the learner is responsible for his learning objectives. Facilitator will guide that he's on the right track, that he's getting the right objectives, and he's not the mentee is not going off track. So that is the role of a facilitator. He has to facilitate the learning. Basically, the onus lies on the learner. That is what I would just like to add into it. So it's basically an adult learning principle, while training is a pedagogy. It's for the children. Means that principle wise, means adults also can be trained using the same principles, but facilitation is basically an adult learning principle.
It's interesting you say that. So I'm going to
That's
ask
wonderful.
Saili to, that's a very interesting thing. And I want Saili to respond to this because she works in a school space with children. So where do you, like, what is your kind of response to this where, she says that training is for children and facilitation is primarily for adults?
Now I would say, I was just thinking about the same thing. Now it depends on a concept. So for instance, I'll just take theater as a subject. So when I am teaching, for example, makeup design, so I am in that space when I'm taking, say, like a 5-class lesson, like, in a week, in 5 classes, we're going to finish the makeup design unit. So what is going to happen is, first I'm going to train them in that, like how you do the makeup design. Like, you use the butter paper on a regular paper, we use marker, we use template for face. So here I'm imparting them with tools and methods that they could use to makeup design. And we start with basic, just drawing a face and everything. However, when we come to the design aspect of it, I would ask them, okay, choose a play that we have read in class, or I would assign a play that we have already read and analyzed in class. And now they have to design. And in this, I'm not teaching them how to design a makeup for a particular character, because I've already given them tools to how to do a makeup design. They now have to design for that character, and in this I'm going to ask them to reflect of how they see the character, what do they associate it with, what is the first thing that comes. So this is the getting the hot water and the sheets, I think, as Anand referred. And now they have to push this design out of their system onto the paper, and each student, even though we do the same play, they all will have different makeup designs, and it could be like same for different costume design. And even in performance, each one will do the same monologue differently.
Hmm.
So you go through that journey of you as when you're with students, young or older ones. As you know, I also do middle school theater club
Yeah.
facilitation. You
Yeah.
first impart tools to them, and you tell them how you should use these tools, even safety measures at sometimes. So that point of time, you are the trainer or the teacher. And then once the application process begins, then you are the facilitator. And this works in same in sciences. You are in the lab, you tell them of everything. Why is this apparatus needed, how it is used, and then they have to design their experiments and work through theories and hypotheses.
Yeah. So here in your space, you're really being both the trainer and the facilitator, um, to kind of take the work forward, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
So Radhika, you work with both children and adults, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
So in your experience, as someone who does a lot of playback as well,
Mhm.
what do you like? How do you see the role of the facilitator versus the trainer or the teacher?
I would say when I go and work, I would say it would really depend on what am I called for. If I'm going to a corporate, I'm facilitating.
Hmm.
I'm going to a place where there are people who don't. If there is a goal in terms of okay, can we have certain can we work towards a goal? There I'm facilitating in the sense of I'm using the tools and techniques I have learned
Hmm.
to bring a certain um, to facilitate that process, bring them closer to the goal that they had said. It could be as simple as team building, it could be company culture, it could be gender diversity, how do we tackle that. So yeah, that is for the adults. Same for children. It could be when I'm facilitating a process in terms of, okay, how do we work happily in a team, in a class, or how do we look at each person in the class in an equal way. So that would be facilitating. But for me, I'm in a trainer mode when I'm training, and mostly I'll be honest, I train mostly adults, and how they can become these facilitators who can
Okay.
bring these techniques to the tools and techniques.
Does that mean that you are facilitator by choice, but at the same time, you present there in the space as a facilitator and teacher both?
In schools, yes, I would say, but maybe depending if I'm with adults and what the context is, then I'm choosing between being a facilitator and then or being a trainer.
All right. Okay. Any more insights on this? Anyone else like to say something on this.
I just want to say I'm so curious now to hear from Srividya what is in her mind, because now I feel like, oh wow, this is another perspective that I'm going to hear. So quite curious.
I want to add something
All
to
right,
it. Like, Kaustubh, may I?
please.
I,
Yeah,
I think
please.
when we were having this discussion, we kind of like younger ones and adults. I have also gone on to direct plays for like, during summertime for some corporate offices for their, like an annual meet or something, and they wanted to perform a play. In this situation, yes, I was
Mm-hmm.
working with adults. At the same time, I had to first train them in basics, like just getting that, because many of them had never done anything like this, like being on stage. And then it's like an office activity. Everybody wants to, they're encouraging each other to be there. So we did like basics of performance, like, expression, body work. So in that sense, we also have to train the adults. I'm just giving an example of what, like basics of dancing, maybe because there was a bit of a dance. And then, as the play progressed, as they kind of got hold of their character, they were able to apply some of the techniques and tools taught to them in the first 2 weeks when I was simply just workshopping with them in developing their character. And then when they were developing their character, bringing their own thing into the text, like how they want to say this line and what they could do. I think at that point, then I became a facilitator. So I think more than
Right.
age group wise, I think it's what you're doing. So you are trainer or facilitator depending upon your mentees a bit, like what task you have at hand and how much skill do they come in with. So that will determine if you're a trainer or a facilitator.
Yeah, I would also agree to that, Sayali. It would also depend on.
So ultimately, what we really
Right.
want to achieve.
So, yes,
Yeah,
sorry.
goes to go on. No, I'm just saying ultimately it all depends on what we really want to achieve. End of the session, what we
Absolutely,
really want to
absolutely.
achieve. Now
I
that
definitely
becomes
second that.
Yeah.
Right. So even with the young children, you can facilitate the process, and even with the adults, you can be there as a trainer to provide them some kind of specific skill set. So probably um, it's not about the age; it's about the content and the context we are dealing with, and accordingly, that can be decided whether we are there as a facilitator or a trainer. So going ahead, listening all these conversations, I'm also thinking about, is there any kind of similarity between a trainer and a teacher?
maybe subject matter expert.
Subject matter expert. Okay. Yes, Yusuf.
So before that, I want to ask a question to you.
Yeah.
Right. Earlier you said that.
Hi, sorry, I got disconnected. My electricity went. Sorry, continue.
No, it's okay. Earlier you said that. Sorry, I just forgot this point. I will ask again.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, not a problem. Whenever you can, not a problem. Yeah. So Srividya, we were just discussing that is there any year and a teacher also.
I didn't get you, Kaustubh. Your voice went.
Yeah. So we were discussing, is there any similarity between trainer and a teacher?
Ah, okay. And what were the responses?
Just
No. Before that, you joined.
Oh, before that I
So-
joined. Okay.
may I?
Yeah, Yusuf.
Yeah, Kaustubh,
Yeah, let Yusuf
yes.
speak before you forget
I
again.
recall my question. I questions to you that you said that content and context. So which one will be first, like context or content?
That's a very interesting question. You mean to say what comes first?
Once upon a time, most of the trainers said that content is the king. So
Mhm.
nowadays, so many trainers said that no, context is the king. So basically, these two, which is the king?
I tell
Uh,
Yusuf, you are the king.
yeah, facilitator is the key.
I don't
No,
think
I
so
think
though,
that's
because then
that's
where
very
is
interesting.
agency? When we say facilitator is the king, then where's the agency?
No, no,
Key,
not king. He said key.
Okay.
key.
Again,
Yes.
again though,
No,
facilitator,
I'm
yeah.
yeah. Please complete.
No. I'm saying if facilitator's key, yes, the facilitator does help to move a session forward, but at the same time, the agency is also with the participants to help move forward, right? So then again, context does play a deeper role if we are giving agency to our participants, whereas content would be more important if we are the key players in a session, right?
Srividya, can you please explain the context of the word agency?
So when I say agency, I mean that the participants have the power of making choices,
Yes, absolutely.
right? And the power of choice is not only on the facilitator, it is on the participants too. And so the direction in which a session goes into is determined by the participants as well.
Can we say by all of us?
By all of us.
So we are also co-learners,
Yes, we are also co-learners in the space, absolutely.
right?
So then in which case wouldn't context play a bigger role rather than content?
So my take on this
I'm
is
just yeah.
context is always
I-
bigger than content. In fact, the content is derived from the context.
From the context,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
feel,
I may, so for example, I may do, so for example, I was doing 2 workshops on negotiation skills with 2 different corporates. Okay. Even the subject being same, both the content was different because the context was different. One had a purchase team, one had a sales team. And one had to negotiate to reduce price, one had to negotiate to increase price. So even though it was negotiation skill workshop, because the context was different, my content completely changed.
Hmm.
I think Saili, you were trying to say something
Yeah,
earlier. Yeah.
I was going back to where the teacher and the facilitator, or the trainer and the teacher, I think was trainer and the, I was thinking in that matter, like being in a school where various subjects are taught. Tomorrow, if it has not yet happened, but very first time when I was asked to teach a topic within theory of knowledge, and at that point I wasn't trained in anything. I hadn't co-taught any class, I hadn't read a textbook. I was just given a weekend to prepare a lesson for one of the topics within theory of knowledge. What I did was I went home with a couple of books from library that the theory of knowledge teacher recommended. I read them, I made my PowerPoint, I made my notes. And on Monday, the idea initially was the teacher would be present in the theory of knowledge. Let's say the facilitator would be present in the class and I would teach that topic. And then what happened, like she ended up not being in the class that day. And I had to teach it as well as facilitate learning. Because she said, you teach the topic because it was theory of knowledge art. And then I will facilitate the TOK discussion. So in this situation, what happened? I didn't have training to be a facilitator in the situation. I could read the book and teach the topic, but I couldn't facilitate because I didn't have the expertise to be a facilitator. So I wasn't trained to be facilitating TOK. Does it make sense? Am I?
No, it makes sense, but
So to be a trainer, I feel you need to have more expertise and experience in practically doing something. So I can train somebody to be a good teacher or facilitator. But to become a teacher, maybe once you learn yourself, you can impart, like teach somebody else. Iska answer aise rehta hai. This is the definition. This is what it is. So what I see and not to like take away from anyone, many of my school teachers were teachers, weren't trainers in the subject, because one teacher who would have probably done a B.Ed or something like that, they could come and teach biology, or they could teach the science textbook, they could also teach the Hindi textbook. Like we had one teacher who's teaching Marathi in one class, but she could be teaching geography in another class. But now we see something like facilitators who are experts in their subject. So one teacher who is teaching physics only teaches physics because they have a degree or master's in a special topics in physics. Like I have a degree and master's in theater, and I have a focus in it. So I only teach theater that way. But then I was trained to teach theory of knowledge, and then I have to apply that. So I think that's like a difference, or like how it is, what you say, uh, attached to each other. One cannot be without the other. However, there are like degrees of I see progression. Like first I become a teacher, then maybe I become a trainer, and then probably a facilitator.
Hmm,
Hmm.
that's
Can I put in
Okay.
a bit?
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It seems quite counterintuitive, but I have got a question. To enable me to teach a subject, do I need to know the subject? Hmm.
Hmm. Can you just say again?
In order to teach a subject, do I need to know the subject?
My answer to this is
Ah,
no.
I would,
Maybe it's not,
I would,
maybe you may not want to know the subject, but maybe you know the right questions to be asked. So you may
Yes.
not be an expert in the subject, but you are an expert in asking the right questions, so that you facilitate learning that comes from them.
Excellent. So the subject is
I
the
would,
content, and
no,
the
Anand,
questions that you
I
ask
would,
are the context, and both of them can be independent as well as mutually exclusive of each other, depending on time, place, circumstances.
perfect. I was about to say that you need to know the context, not the content, to teach
Hmm.
the subject.
I
If you
think that
understand the difference between these two, then probably you can teach any subject, provided you need to be interested to learn and know the context of it.
Yeah. Hmm.
there's a nice term which is called content neutral,
Hmm.
where you don't produce any content. So you don't bring in any content to the learners, you produce the content with them. And all of us become the
Absolutely.
co-creator of that content.
So I do want to bring back the conversation
Correct.
to
And to do,
applied theatre. Hello, sorry, I think I'm.
Yeah, Radhika.
no, yeah,
I do want to bring back the conversation to applied theater and know from you what would be then a teacher and then because I think in a field like this, it would be very important who teaches, who can teach, and who can,
Facilitate, yeah.
the difference there.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Radhika.
May I?
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah. Actually, I was just listening to all you are this thing. I'm basically medical teacher. So I would, from my perspective, I would like to tell, we are talking about the teaching. See, it is a teaching learning process. It is not only teaching. I keep teaching. If the learner has not learned anything, it is of no use. So it is very important that learner learns. So the main difference in facilitation and teaching will be this: the teacher owns everything. It is the teacher's knowledge, teacher's ideas, everything. And when we talk about the
What happened? I think she got disconnected. Okay, would anyone else like to respond to this from an applied theater perspective? So in an applied theater context, because I think where she was going was that as a teacher, you're owning the knowledge, you're owning the process, whereas as a facilitator, you're allowing things to be, you're kind of allowing the process to happen with the participants you're working with, is what I kind of gauged from what she was trying to say. Right?
Yeah,
So you're
so-
not the owner of the process. You're not the owner of the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I also believe, that as a facilitator, what you own is how you lead the process and how you are open to changing it based on the feedback you get in the process. So it's about how you receive the feedback and how you keep changing it and co-create a new process, real time, and not stick to a certain model or a pattern and say that no, this is the way to do it. But how are you co-creating the learning experience with the participants while owning the process or the methodology? And you, that choice is yours. Like, for example, you say that, okay, here I'm doing TO, and suddenly you feel that, okay, let me introduce maybe improv here in between, and or let me just introduce a small element of storytelling here in between, because that's the feedback that I'm getting in this co-creation process. So you own the methodology and the technique and the process, but you are constantly also receiving feedback to modify it and give what the participant needs and not stick to what you have come with. Like, it's more of a co-creation by constantly receiving feedback than saying that I'm going to do this and you have to deal with it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
True.
Yeah, a lot to take in there.
So I'm just thinking on that term. She said ownership, and I was just asking myself, like, as a facilitator, do I really own anything?
Hmm.
And the answer is no,
No, yeah,
right? Because I grow up, I develop as a facilitator when I add up something which is coming from the participants.
correct.
So it's not me. So every day when I do a training, when I'm doing my workshop, every day I'm a new facilitator. I'm not that old facilitator,
Yeah,
who did workshop last time. Every time I'm new. So I'm like, I'm just trying to answer my own question, that what do I really own as a facilitator?
yeah,
May I?
yeah, please, Sally.
So I was just thinking like facilitation. I was just again going back to my theater classes. So generally grade 11, when I begin, there I'm imparting what I own to them, like how, again, as I said, tools, how to do something. But as we transition from grade 11 to 12, when they start working on their independent projects and they are doing them, when I see them doing successfully, I know what I did in the first semesters with them, that is working. They were able to answer the prompts given by the IB curriculum for their independent projects. And they are answering the prompts correctly. Like, I can see them understanding the criterias on their own. And it tells me what worked and what maybe did not work uh, in my lesson plans in my first semester. And that's something as a facilitator I have, is my lesson plans. And then I could tweak them, I could keep them and evolve on them, I could build on something based on these learnings. So as a facilitator, I'm taking away this learning of which tool worked and how it worked, how differently I could use. So I think that is something as a facilitator I take away. And again, I have to try it again next year because it might be an anomaly for that batch. So
Correct.
I keep
Absolutely.
updating. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So as a facilitator, I think we are just honing our tools,
Yeah.
literally and metaphorically, and seeing if they're working every year. And then you're constantly then adapting to changing curriculums or frameworks given by the
Or the
board.
context in the applied
Context,
theatre
yeah,
space, yeah.
correct. And the context. So
Yeah.
the tools and honing, it's like being a chef and having that knife set that they carry, and you have to keep sharpening them. So no
Yeah.
matter what vegetable or whatever comes ingredients, we have tools to work with them, and then we need to know what would work, what would work.
Right.
Yes,
So
Anand.
that's exactly what I meant. Thanks for simplifying it. Yeah, thanks for simplifying it. That's exactly what I meant. Where you are actually you are owning these tools to go and facilitate a process.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Kaustubh, I think we'll need one more session on just facilitation and what it is to be a
Yeah,
facilitator.
probably.
Yeah, because there's a lot more I think we need to really kind of
Yes.
understand here. Yeah. Sorry, Anand.
I have one thought to share. It's very right that we own the processes and tools and techniques, but that's still an external stuff. Okay, I think we also own a right attitude of giving respect to our participants, right attitude of being a super active or empathetic listener, right attitude of ensuring that we are creating a safe, open, non-judgmental environment. Now that happens through our own attitude. I think we must become the owner of that right attitude, and which ultimately transfers into the whole class or the whole unit. Okay, I think that also we should be owner. That's just a thought. I never thought like this, but today the conversation actually allowed me to think like this. I don't know, and I would like to throw this. Do you agree, disagree? What's your point of view?
No, definitely. I mean, because one thing you said just now, the onus on us as facilitators to create that safe space for our participants is extremely important.
Yes.
Right. And so then the question of what is the safe space also arises, which is, of course, not a topic for today, but an entirely other conversation that we need to have. But yeah, and that's something that we as facilitators really have to think about, because for each set of participants, for each context, safe space means something completely different. Right. So then how are you ensuring that the space you're creating is one where our participants are able to thrive and really get something out of?
True.
Right.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
I
thanks
have
so
a
much
question
for
here.
that, Anand. Yes, Milind.
Is the onus of creating such a space or maintaining such openness, is it really something that a facilitator should be involved in doing?
It is something I feel personally that, yes, the facilitator facilitates in creating, but it is also on the participants to help create that space. Right. So, which is why, for example, when I work with a group of people, the first thing I do is create a mutual agreement. Because for me, I know that then we are the co-creators of that safe space.
See, Milind, to answer your question, as a facilitator, my job is not to create a safe space. My job is to deal with the context I'm dealing with. But I cannot do that unless and until I create a safe space. I cannot facilitate things. I cannot, take forward my process along with the participants. Like I can complete my PPT and say that, it is over. But to make it really understandable, I need to create that learning space for everyone in the room. And without creating that, I cannot go ahead and, deal with the context that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
So I feel it is a primary part of facilitation process to create a safe space. So you do it deliberately or you don't do it deliberately, but you have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this discussion raised a lot of questions. And
yes, that's the purpose of this conversation.
Right. And for me personally, the concept of facilitator has been turned around 360 degrees. Sorry, 180 degrees. It's interesting, but I think I'll have to apply a lot of mind to understand what a facilitator is. Thank you.
That's great. That's great to know,
Yeah.
Milind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, if
Yusuf.
it's turned 180 degrees, then that's, yeah. Yes,
But
yes.
I really want to appreciate Milind because it requires guts to say what he's saying, right? No, Milind,
Absolutely.
heads off, amazing.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you so much. We are talking
you.
about facilitator, trainers, and so on, teachers. Once upon a time, I read an article on Forbes. On that time, I found that in a training session, facilitator can speak only 20% and 80% from participant. Trainers will speak 40%. Participant will participate 60%. And as a public speaker, will speak 80%. Participant will speak 20%. So is it correct? What do you think?
But I can just tell for myself, like when I do training, I speak not more than 10% in my training, right? But I allow participants to speak a lot because that's
Okay.
where we generate the knowledge. And I feel my job is to summarize that knowledge and, as Anand rightly said, give it back to them because the ownership belongs to them. So yeah, it's difficult to count in a percentage, but I prefer to speak very less in a training.
Kaustubh, in a training session, sometimes a trainer need to be a trainer role, sometimes need to be a facilitator role. My personal opinion, nothing else. So is it, am I right way or can I change this way? Can I need to
No, that
change this?
depends on you, Yusuf. No, I think that depends on you because there is nothing right and wrong way in a facilitation.
I think the
So
context will play a role.
yeah, see whatever is comfortable for you and using whatever device, if you can help participants learn, is the right thing.
Kaustubh, you said
Yeah.
whatever is comfortable to you.
Hmm.
That means the focus is on me.
No. I'm saying Yusuf.
Yeah.
Like everybody, not
So
only
that
you,
means
everyone.
something which is not comfortable to my participant, but is comfortable to me. Should I do that?
If Anand, if something is not comfortable to your participants, it cannot be comfortable for you as a facilitator.
Okay. Right.
And
Well said,
also
Kaustubh.
the other thing is that each one has their own facilitation style as well, right? So whatever you do has to cater to your facilitation style, and everything else is typically around that, because there's no way I can facilitate like Kaustubh. There's no way I can facilitate like you, but
Absolutely.
I have my style of facilitating, and I build everything around that, because at the end of the day, that comfort level I have to have. Everything else is unknown to me, maybe, but the
Right.
context is known to me. My facilitation style is known to me. The number of participants I have may or may not be known to me.
Right.
Who my participants are may or may not be known to me. But and I think it comes back to the ownership then, Kaustubh, that question of ownership. What I own then is my facilitation style, and of course, my tools.
Absolutely.
And I think
Yes.
on that note, Kaustubh, we really need to stop because it's 7:04 and we've
Yes.
gone. But I really think that we need to have more conversations about this. So maybe I'm thinking another session next month on the role of a facilitator, and let's take these conversations ahead. Does that work for everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, because I think there's so
Absolutely.
many questions that are coming out.
Absolutely.
So let's do this. Great. So
Can we
on
collect
that,
the questions in advance?
pardon me, Milind?
Should we collect these questions in advance?
Sure. So we'll figure out, Kaustubh and I will sit and figure out how to do that. and we'll let you guys know on
Yes.
the group. Yeah.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for being here.
But to truly,
Yeah.
Vinit, just before you finish, Srividya, we would
Yeah.
really like to keep it as an open conversation. It is not an interview of me or Srividya, or it is not something that we're going to teach. So we all need to contribute, whether it's a questions or a comment or anything. It's the space need to be owned by everybody.
Everyone. Yeah.
That's a facilitator's job, Kaustubh.
Absolutely, that's what we are doing.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you
All
very
right.
much. And
Yes.
yes, Srividya.
No, go for it. Carry on.
No. I'm just saying thank you very much for joining. And even you can share with your friends, those who feel, this is something important going on. Srividya will send the link of the video soon. So you can go again and watch it and prepare with your questions. And let's go on like this.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for being here and sharing all your wonderful insights. And Anand, I am taking your metaphor of the midwife
Yes.
with me.
No,
So-
I must thank each one of you, and especially to Srividya and Kaustubh for a wonderful initiative. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you
Thank
all
you.
so much. And see you all next month. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.